we're back. I've just been staring at this guy's ass for a little bit, although it is blocked by the move icon.
Tragic.
Yeah, it's very tragic. But I did dance with him last time. We're still in a boat. We're still accused of murder. But it's okay. Ryunosuke is in good hands. I'm only slightly inebriated. I've drank one beer. I'm alright.
Neat.
It is like my one beer of the year. That's what I do. Anyway, what are you doing, butthead?
Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes. Look.
Wow, an interruption immediately. Alright, we're back. And the Chanty pick is now available. I hate the Chanty pick. It requires 2 Wonder Pick icons to do. Anyway.
Yeah.
Wow, you never know where he's going to turn up next, do you?
He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself.
He seems to be stealing something based. Tra-la-la, lira-lira-lay. I did it the great detective way. He's still singing. Do you think he hasn't noticed us?
Or he's simply in extremely high spirits.
Yes, there were times, I'm sure you know, when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, it's lucky Herlock was about. Excuse me. I solved it all and I stood tall. I did it to the great detective. He is singing. He's singing Frank Sinatra.
I see.
Mr. Sholmes. That doesn't exist yet. Oh my god, we killed him. What is it you want to fight, Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing, and I was just about to reach the climactic finish. Sorry, I thought you were never going to stop, so I figured now is as good a time as any. I very nearly dropped you off the floor with one of my brainless right hooks. Alright, I get the picture. Now could you put the fists away? He's gonna clock me with a new one.
Mr. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you.
Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in study of the ship's log as penned by the stockily built crewman, who's usually on guard here. I feel like I change his accent every time.
Yeah. Oh yes, the ship's log.
Did you find anything useful from it? Well, after 2 AM this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means that there was nothing to report. Nothing of note happened, so... You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Sorry. Your logic, my boy, is inverted.
Why are you pointing at me? Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
Pull my finger.
No.
Observe the other pages, and all shall become clear. It would seem the same crewman oft stands sentry in its first-class passageway. And he has an almost religious practice of recording nothing to report every half an hour. Oh, he writes that in every 30 minutes?
Nothing to report.
Precisely. Put simply, the seaman simply writes nothing to report when there is just that. And yet, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write
It's
nothing to
Ryunosuke.
report. Oh, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report.
Do you mean...
Yes. There was circumstances afoot last night, which led to the seaman being absent from his post.
What kind of circumstances? What happened?
That remains a mystery for now, but we can be sure that something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribbling nothing to report in the log. Scribing. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log into your mental file. Thanks. Finally a clue.
Great.
Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective. Ah, you're starting to understand what my way is, I see. What makes Sholmes. Brilliant. Ha 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 ha. Oh. Ow. What is it? Are you hurt? Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason. Nothing more.
Did like everyone like fucking hit their heads as like the
I
ship
think the
got like
ship
stopped
suddenly
and
stopped.
no one noticed?
Yeah, I think
Like,
everyone got clocked in the head.
that's really funny.
I think everyone passed out from it. Everyone got, like, knocked the fuck out. Two's a coinkydink. Three's a pattern. Well, my friends, until our next encounter. He's still singing to himself. I can hear it as he wanders off down the passageway. Something wrong, Susato? You seem lost in thought, all alone.
It's just, well, I feel the same.
Sorry?
Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. A sort of continuous throbbing.
Oh, you too? Maybe we're all gassed.
I mean, there's that whole ventilation thing, but I don't think Sholmes would have been anywhere near that
Maybe we're all bitten by a snake.
Well, there was probably a snake. Ah, what's that?
Someone rang the alarm. Oh, the ship's stopping. Hold up, it's about to happen again. Bolt for cover. Shut the engines immediately. Vessel sighted a quarter mile 4. Full stop, hard to starboard. All hands brace for impact.
This is gonna show us the books falling over again, I bet.
Yeah.
I think we're about to crash into another ship.
Oh, great. What?
I can't stand.
Zata-san, hold on to me. Zata-san, you alright? You injured at all?
I think I'm fine. Thank you, Naruhodo-san. Ooh, and the luggage opened.
Oh, it did. It looks like we avoided a collision.
I think...
Yeah, the ship had come to a stop.
Oh my goodness, what about you, Naruhodo-san? Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine. I've taken a couple knocks. Hello, is anyone in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like...
Inspector Hosonaga.
Wrong voice. Is that you in there, Naruhodo-san? Unbolt the door quickly. What? The bolt?
Oh, look at that.
The door's bolted. Did you do that, Susato?
No, I didn't touch it.
Well, that's strange. How did... And look at all the books. They're just like they were before again.
Naruhodo-san, aren't you going to open the door and let the inspector in?
No. We better tidy this place up first. Our violent emergency stop had solved one mystery at last in a very vivid way. But I knew that what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around untidying up the cabin with a new sense of forebodings in my heart.
Sayori?
Actually, it's just me, Hosonaga. You were close to a save point.
Yeah.
The 9th of January. Liburia, Miss Pavlova's cabin. Somehow the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Suzato-san took a deep breath and gently slid back the bolt. Hosunaga?
What are you doing in Miss Pavlova's cabin?
Quarters.
Oh, you're both unhurt. Good.
Yeah, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? I heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship.
Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though.
No, how'd that happen?
There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought we saw a ship up ahead.
I'm guessing that this was, Holmes. Just like setting up a test.
Maybe.
Or potentially the killer trying to make an escape somehow.
Or just actually a coincidence.
Or a coincidence, yeah.
This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos. Passengers screaming, crew running everywhere. This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment.
Oh, I see.
Someone triggered the alarm? What does that mean? Did someone press that button outside?
Ah, you wicked intruder, dressed all in black. You are the devil.
That's me. Sorry, me. I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first.
You opened my traveling case. How could you?
Huh? No, we didn't touch it.
That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Oh. Inspector!
Yes?
Arrest this man. I know he did it. He is a criminal. Is it not enough that he has killed a man?
Duh, and he is stowaway as well. The vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe?
Take him away. He is a trespasser as well as everything else.
Mercy? After you've scrubbed all the floors in Hyrule. Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right, you are devil.
It doesn't look good, does it?
There is cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong, and we give you straight to police.
Wait, a cell? Why would it be tried in Hong Kong? I guess because it just happens to be there.
Yeah, just closest place. Please, Inspector Hosonaga, is there nothing you can do?
This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here.
Actually, Hong Kong would have been owned by Japan at the time, wouldn't it have?
I don't know.
It would not have been given back to China yet.
I know nothing about the history of that.
After my last efforts to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options.
It was terrible.
This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately. Or maybe it was in World War II that they got Hong Kong.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It was World War II.
Okay. Yeah, I'm wary on that. Wow. I just need to keep calm and focus on the task at hand, which is investigating.
Don't touch my things.
You want me to show you where crawfish hibernates?
Yeah.
Why, V?
Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think you're doing?
Wow, everyone's attacking me. This is great. This is just like high school. I was just starting to think she was my friend.
I think you have to talk to someone.
You've got yourself into a difficult situation here. By entering this cabin uninvited, I mean.
Sorry, I was just so desperate to find a clue.
I'm afraid there's really nothing more I can do to help you. If I push my luck any further, a punch to the face will be the least of my worries.
I'm really sorry, man.
I have to take responsibility for giving you the freedom to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin. Now that this has happened, I'll have to report it to the captain at once. I'm going to be mincemeat.
I really need some help here. I need a savior to rescue me from this crisis. Do we have Mr. Detective Man. What the? What are you doing up there? That's Dunban over there. The nice fucking crown, dude. Mr. Sholmes? Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one head. Have I not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what others people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no. Well, why were you hanging from that hook up there, then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine if it would bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not.
Ah, you again, the great detective. Ah, Inspector, I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me some other where else than a hook on the wall next time. What is to report? Speak!
An urgent report from the great detective can mean but one thing. Yes, the case of the curious murder that took place last night, here in this vessel, the steamship Buria, has been solved by me, naturally. What?
Really?
Yes, I've eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I'm about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction from the case.
Oh, I think I know what's gonna happen. I think he's going to make it be Pavlova who, did it, but she actually didn't, and then we're gonna defend her.
Yeah, she's the red herring right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you have
and then-
solved it.
yeah.
Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all knew who was responsible for killing student boy this morning when we found criminal in the wardrobe. It is this stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it.
I didn't do it.
The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin.
Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories.
Da! Lock room, that's point.
The room was locked.
Well, we can't deny that. There's no way that bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin. Except for that one time it happened, about 5 minutes ago. You're all quite mistaken. The cabin door next door is not a so-called lock room at all.
What?
No, yes. There is another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin, despite the bolted door.
What other entrance? We never discovered one.
Why? It gape's open now that you even as we speak. The ventilator man!
The ventilator? You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole.
That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks.
You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin right through that tiny opening. It's not possible.
I had to repress an urge to do a tree trunks voice when he said tree trunks.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator.
Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the word Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Precisely, my dear madam. But what does it mean? What is this speckled band?
The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. He thinks it's the crown. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? There is a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I'm about to expose for y'all to see will shock you to your very cores. Behold.
Yeah.
What the?
Nick.
Stroganoff. Allow me to introduce you all to the band. The speckled band. A snake? Indubitably. No comment?
It's cute.
He is cute. Probably killed somebody though.
Yay.
Mr. Sholmes.
Girl boss.
Just one thing. We have to check first. You know, snakes have like 2 penises if they're a guy. So it should be easy to see. It's like 2 things to see.
Actually, animals don't really have a concept of gender.
That's true. You know, that's a great point, honestly. Still could be a girl boss. It's currently killing Stroganoff though, so you know that's pretty cool. But Stroganoff is my favorite, so you know. But she knows best because she knows it. Hey, Mr. Sholmes, just one thing. Pray, what troubles you? Well, the snake, it isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say?
Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it the striped band, wouldn't you?
What if the snake was just a fucking red herring the whole time? We both see and observe with distinction, however. Do you not think that is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall?
Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap.
How exactly? I think perhaps it's time I explained all the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova?
I'm sorry for the young man who died. That is all. His death has nothing to do with me. The whole thing has nothing to do with me.
Au contraire. There are 2 conclusions I've drawn from the facts. Number 1, last night your friend infiltrated the friend's cabin.
Ah.
And number 2, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life.
No.
She's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head.
Come on, Ryunosuke.
Anything to get me off the chopping block.
Yeah.
This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi? Looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. Looks like he can't breathe with that snake coiled around his head. I would advise as little movement as possible, seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. The great deduction. The game is afoot. The intruder's identity. The conclusion. Miss Pavlova, 1 second.
Are you going to accuse my snake of butter or not?
Moments ago, you claimed the following.
I don't know if it picked up, but you scared the hell out of me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Because I had just started looking at my phone, so it was like perfect timing.
His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those hard events, your aching heart smarts with pain. What? And it is that very pain that evidenced that your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. I think it's a different snake. I think that's somebody else's snake.
That would be very funny.
And yet that fact leaves us with a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, he does not care about that snake. The specimen's markings do not fit that description anyway. What explanation can we give then, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night?
No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this.
Oh, but it does. You have the answers to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that's what you are trying but failing to conceal. Can only be that snake-slowed skin. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin. No.
Hey, I don't know what you are talking about.
Last night, through that ventilator visible in the cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as a bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. By the way, I don't think that was the snake skin. I think that was a separate emergency pull thing. Yeah.
Something like that for sure.
In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. And then the snake made him write in Russian. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime. I mean, it's a communist snake. Is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it slows its skin. A snake so dreadful we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. A beloved speckled snake. How Mr. Asogi died. But we're not done yet. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter. The grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been appraised, it would appear that there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
No, could there be?
Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost, but not quite imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snake bite delivered by your terrifying friend.
This makes no sense.
There is no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntarily glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. He's fucking everything up. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt.
You don't.
Oh, it is telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his end. What was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend.
To train?
Indeed. You'd put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you'd summon it back with a cat call.
I swear that's like the same stock whistle effect they use in like Sonic Adventure 2 Chow Garden.
Absolutely. 1 second. Alright, surely that's the last interruption. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you'd have released the snake once more. Accidental rhyming is the best kind. Do you deny the snake has undergone such training?
It's not true.
Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature only needed to sink its fangs in once. And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young lad's life. There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible. Death by snakebite. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of the speckled band. You know, give me a second. How old is this man? 34.
34? Wow.
Not a person except me, apparently.
That's a continuation of the previous line.
There's not a person in the world who hasn't heard this famous... Not a person except me. Oh, okay, I say what. Okay. Yes.
Wait, hold up. What? Go left. 2 more. She's 16.
Yeah, just a refined Japanese lady. It's like the Maya age, kind of.
Yeah, I suppose.
Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of the speckled band.
I think I will stop with the jokes that she was into Kazuma then.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I think that is what they're implying, but yeah.
You know.
I think the main character is 18, or is he also 23?
He's got to be in his 20s because he's like a classmate of Cosmos.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Maybe they're not the same year, but they can't be that far off.
Oh, classic Japan. Anyway, Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor you observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible. You've solved the mystery. Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Herlock Sholmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was not remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand.
Oh, do we get to redo it as her now? That'd be cool.
Maybe. Here, we'll just ship Susato with the Russian princess.
Yeah. Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes?
But of course. What's on your mind?
It's just, about your deductions before, some things don't quite make sense to me.
That's ridiculous. It all makes sense to me. Take off the chains, please. I welcome questions as to my method, and I will answer both loudly and proudly.
Oh, well, good. First of all...
She took notes.
Snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family.
You are well informed, madam.
And reptiles, don't drink milk.
Ah.
It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward.
No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds.
Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears.
Huh.
Yes, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal to a snake by whistling.
But madame, what of the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snake that dances to the sound of a flute?
I think perhaps the performances play their music in time with the snake's natural movements.
No. I see. No hands, no feet, no ears? These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless.
Literally a Steven Universe joke.
Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes.
There is one other thing.
You have more?
Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in these cabins.
Don't garden snakes do that?
Yeah.
Then it should try harder.
Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say...
Maybe he helped. Maybe Mr. Asogi helped.
Okay, come on, man. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this.
You didn't even dance with me.
I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh no, you don't mean...
Yes, you need to do your fruity little dance again. We need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be.
But Stroganoff is here. He's gonna see me. Yeah, I had a feeling this was coming. Alright, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, right. It feels a little more weird now that I know you're 34. So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again. What?
I mean, sure, it feels a little weird, but if they were women and one's 34 and the other's like 20-some, I'd be like, hell fucking yeah. So, it's fine.
I got interrupted again as you were meant talking, I'm sorry. What were you saying about the fruity dancing or something?
I was saying that if they were women instead, and so one's 34 and the other was 20-some, and they were doing this, I'd be like, hell fucking yeah.
But when it's guys, it's weird.
Well, no, what I'm saying is it doesn't appeal to me, but I think I gotta not be a hypocrite, so like,
okay, that's
it's chill.
fair. Okay. You've done it again.
Your handcuffs are gone.
Where did they go?
Fear not, I ate them.
I shall see they're restored after our work is done. He's just chewing on them. I really wish you'd leave them off, honestly. Now, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular Part 2 Redux. The second showing. With new boy. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet, you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. She does have a pained expression on her face.
Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kazuma-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind.
You're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression, then?
Let's take a moment and really look very closely at Miss Pavlova.
It looks like she has an aching wrist.
That actually might be it. Oh, there was something... Hold on. There was something by the mouth, I think. Right ear.
I don't think it's her ear.
Probably not it. Don't forget you can rotate.
Yeah. Rotate. No.
Oh.
Looks like she was
that's
scratched.
probably it. Oh, Naruhodo-san, look! That looks like a very painful wound.
No, it's probably just a cat. You get those all the time if you have a cat.
Pretty true.
Looks like a scratch made by some kind of small animal. Fairly recently, too.
Well, whatever scratched her doesn't appear to be around here.
Okay.
Oh, there's a picture in the background of her with a cat.
Oh.
So yeah, the snake is probably completely a red herring, and the speckled band was maybe the cat's tail.
Possibly? Is it does she have a Cheshire cat?
I mean, I can't really see it well from here, but oh, is that? Oh, so that's not actually what we were supposed to submit? Because it, or
Oh,
no,
I was
yeah,
supposed
no,
to. Oh, I was supposed to hit present. She really does look
Yeah.
troubled.
Yes, it's hard to believe she's putting that expression on to fool us.
But if you look closely, it's almost like she's actually staring at something.
At what, do you think?
Perhaps something physically is causing the pain. We should take a closer look.
Yes!
Yes! Yes, when you recall those horrid events, that claw scratch smarts with pain. Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. The snake has 3 fangs. Miss Pavlova, did you just react? In fact, react to that scratch? My goodness. Sometime last night? Did you receive that scratch last night?
When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse.
And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. Let's just take a picture of the friend. Seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't really have claws, do they?
No, they don't.
Imagine if they did. I guess Komodo dragons.
They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow.
Well then. That snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers?
We should follow her case, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer.
Did you know that Komodo dragons aren't poisonous? They just have such dirty, disgusting mouths that you get infected with bacteria.
I have heard about that, yeah. Aww.
Huh. Look at the photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away. She's exceptional.
She's exceptionally beautiful, isn't she?
That's not me. Yes, that's true. Personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that caught my eye. Maybe we better take a closer look at this.
Yes!
Yes. Miss Pav... Wait, come on! Considering the fact that you ran away from your homeland on your own, you have no friends at the moment except yourself. I mean, it's not my intention to make you feel bad. What precisely was your intention with that, Mr. Naruhodo? Just following the natural progression of deduction. Sometimes the truth hurts. Well, the truth is you do not have a turn for observation or deduction. Did that hurt? Yeah, a lot.
Wait, can you try presenting this like Stroganoff? Because that was an option.
We can very easily show that Miss Pavlova's furtive glance was aimed at her friend.
And that same friend is probably responsible for the scratch on the back of her hand. We also know that whatever it is, the friend must be small enough to pass through the ventilator.
Yeah, really ought to narrow it down. Let me scout around again for the direction she looked. Alright, hold up.
Also, is she even looking at the picture? Because they're saying the direction she looked, but she's not looking at the picture.
Forget about how you could have brought him aboard in your case, or how he could fit through the ventilator. A true friend always finds a way to you. And what more dependable friend could you ask for than Seaman Biff Stroganoff? What precisely was your intention?
Okay, and I think that's
just following the natural law of deduction. Okay. That is funny that there's custom dialogue for each thing you select.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is a bad thing, because that means I want to see.
No. Only the really funny ones.
Alright. Skip. Skip. I just need to look at the cat. Thank you.
Yes!
Little kitten.
But without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. So says the Discord mod. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear.
Oh no.
The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear— oh my god, Mr. Ryunosuke, you became a mini boy! What happened to you? You're so small! Is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Oh good, he's regular size again.
Just like Luke and bigger Luke. Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind.
Darker would appear to be the Russian blue. Russian blue. And yet that fact leaves us in quite the quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, the specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way.
Maybe it's his collar.
What explanation can we give then, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night?
Takes it out of the pocket. No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this.
Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now hidden beneath your back. Yes, that which you are trying, but failing to conceal can only be the snake-slowed skin.
Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back.
If she just left it in her pocket, no one would have even known.
Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Shalom's specialty. He's ever so cleverly forced her to reveal something.
I thought deduction was his specialty. Or maybe making me believe that that was a ploy too.
Anyway, I find it hard to believe that's the skin of a snake.
In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? We probably have to...
Oh, wait, no, go back to where you were. More. You see that? Down there? In her hand?
Oh, it's the bell cord. Well, I mean, I know it's the bell cord, but like... It's obviously the hand of the bell cord. Oh, is there something else? Am I blind?
It's like the wooden looking thing.
Yeah, that's the handle of the bell cord.
Oh, okay. Then I guess we can just select the bell cord if that's what you think it is.
If I can try and select that. I think it's the bell cord. I'll just like click on this and see what happens.
Yeah, maybe it'll update. Yeah.
Well, it is a speckled, and it is a band, but what the hell is it? Seems to be some soft and fluffy thing, a long piece of cloth of some sort. That looks like a handle on one end.
I think it may be a cat's toy. This sort is common in the West, apparently.
How is that a toy for cats?
Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them and they pounce to catch it.
Well, that sounds positively adorable. Is that it? I don't... I mean... Do I just reveal that
yeah,
it's a cat's...
now,
Right.
yeah, now it's cat toy, yeah.
Boink. Alright, I guess we'll worry about it being the bell cord later.
I think it's not the bell cord.
It is just a cat's toy. Yes, that thing you're trying to
maybe you're wrong.
conceal is, well, it's a cat toy. Precisely, and the true nature of the now infamous speckled band. And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it round, I presume? Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. That cat is an assassin. After a feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat toy to incite the creature to return. There's like a dead pixel on that screen in the cabin. In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka.
Yeah.
A truly troublesome feline young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. I'll get it back, right? We'll see about that.
It was after I gave her her food last night. That's when it happened.
The snake ate him.
She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Daka, she is so naughty.
A beloved keeper. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? Well, according to the data of which I've been apprised, it would appear that there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom.
What Mr. Sholmes says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere in Kazuma-sama's body.
That's right, but Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned.
Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now.
That would be from the post-mortem report.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes!
Boink. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Oh yes, I knew it was one or the other.
His neck was...
Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that.
Seaman strong enough isn't some kind of immortal freak, you know.
What is that face? Why did he become Gollum?
He's made that face a few times.
Usually it's behind a desk so you don't see the full hunch.
Oh, sure.
The jury is out. Anyway, we have good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that into fact, you can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Oh no, could there be?
Oh no, a dust bunny! So I was watching Rugrats Scavenger Hunt. Yes, I was examining the quote. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something, or someone.
Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though.
Presumably, Darka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow.
I suppose it's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident.
Wouldn't that be a fuckery? Oh yeah, a bad fall could explain it.
It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-sama, though.
What if there is no trial? He just fell and died. They would never do that. It's always murder. It's literally never...
Yeah.
Even the times they're like, oh, it wasn't murder, it was murder.
Yeah. He wasn't a clumsy man. I mean, hell, even the case where they were like, this is actually, like, about, you know, Ace Attorney 6 spoilers, Spirit of Justice spoilers. When, you know, about who gets the orb in, Korean Village, like, it ends up being a murder. Even though you think it's a civil suit.
That's what I was thinking of. It just ended up being a murder, even though it was all about just, like, some fucking orbery shenanigans.
Yeah.
Is there anything from the scene that can explain what happened?
Yeah, I was thinking the mark on
You
floor.
slip.
Yes!
Boink. Yeah, an examination of the mark on the floor proved the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish. Give him one thing, he adapts really fast.
Yeah.
Indeed, positively identified by the little analysis device I was constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. Beeswax is used a lot. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped.
Please, no.
You know what I think happened? I think she pulled the bell cord because she was worried that she couldn't find her cat. So she wanted to make a stop so everyone would, like, be distracted so she could go find her cat in peace. And I think that ended up killing the dude.
I think that's the red herring, but what actually happened is, like, that snake
He got murdered.
killed him. Yeah.
Or the
like,
snake
I think the killer trained the snake, but the killer's not her.
It is very hard to train a snake to do all that, but yeah, maybe.
Well, I mean, not by whistling or saucers of milk, but I'm sure it's possible other ways.
He probably was just there with the snake and just, like, strangled and then just left. And by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant he lost his life.
No! I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance behind you betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case.
I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now we know more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it.
I don't know. Oda thought it was a really good plot point for what happened to Zoro's, like, girl of interest. She just tripped and fell down the fucking stairs. It's just what happened to her. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened.
But...
And if this part of Mr. Shom's deduction is right, Miss Pavlova's trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin. Somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes.
Where, I wonder?
Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. The other bag? Can I, like, look in that? No, I can't look in
No, because it's going to be somewhere over here, because this is where she looked.
Tiara's a decent option.
Maybe it's in the waste paper? No, I don't know if we got to check that or not. Let's try it.
I got yelled at for trying to check it.
That's right, yep. This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them.
But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet. Ah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
No, what's that?
It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it?
Oh, it's the cat's bell.
Aww.
Yeah, it is. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before.
It looks familiar. Perhaps it's more in your mind simply playing tricks on you.
I think he, like, misstepped, stepped on the bell, broke the bell, slipped with the shoe polish, and then snapped his neck. Is what they're saying happened.
Right.
Well, black cats are bad luck. So
that's not true. I've had plenty, and they're all great.
Yeah, black cats are great, but, like, you know, superstitiously for Japan, all about superstition. Black cats are bad luck. So that's probably just what they're, alluding to here. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that wastepaper basket. Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that had a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Osogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly.
Oh no.
So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the wastepaper basket in your cabin?
Yeah.
You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not?
I don't.
I don't know, and that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question.
What?
Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. You don't know, do you? No.
I'm just guessing.
Yes. Well, the evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell. That would be... the cat.
Yes!
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, the very glass bell in question.
The
truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble? They're so gay. The absent feline friend Darka.
Ellipses. Ellipses. I couldn't tell anyone. I am sorry.
Death by tripping over a cat. That's really what it seems like happened. There's nobody else in the case. So unless they extend it, then yeah.
It could be Beef Stroganoff. Maybe that snake is all over him because it's his pet snake.
All right, let's take a look at the court record really fast. What hasn't been explained away yet? Oh, yeah, obviously
Russian writing.
The Russian writing. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that would certainly be something about it. Villain Bolshevik would also be something.
That might just be entirely irrelevant.
It might just be a red herring.
Also, yeah, the
no
ship's
entries.
log.
Yeah.
Yeah, although that could just be if the guy got knocked out. Yeah. But they haven't even talked about the ship being stopped.
Yeah. I mean, they briefly mentioned that that's why people probably have a headache, or at least they're alluding to it. But yeah.
They're alluding to it. They haven't said.
Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night.
It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands.
People do say that cats sometimes become very anxious and nervous in new environments.
She was so fast. She disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her.
As someone who played regular with kittens, they don't usually scratch that hard.
Yeah.
Their claws are really bad at scratching you. At least, I mean, they do scratch the hell out of you, but it's not like deep scratches.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it.
Yes. The real problem here is that because of the time frame, they don't have antibiotics yet. Deep cat cut in the hand, that's not good.
Just dump some brandy over it. that'll
And I had read the rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Darka with me.
Well, yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really.
So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping.
So at this point, you thought it safe to try and lure the kitten back again. By dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator and through the adjoining cabin.
Barca always loves this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return.
So the faint whistling sound Kazuma wrote about in his diary with Miss Pavlova, trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened.
Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then...
Most cat thing ever. She said Mia! I knew it.
I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out, and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent.
Kazuma was... It really sounds like he just stepped on a cat. That's really funny.
Well, with the rush. I mean, I'm sure he tripped. I'm sure he did trip, but that's no way it's the cause of death.
What if, like, the cat's name was written on the bell and he wrote the cat's name on the bell?
No, come on. We would have seen it. We would have seen it on the bell. Why would he write the cat's name?
Because he saw the cat's name on the bell. He's like, oh, that's why I died. From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping. The SS Buria is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. Mr. Asogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet. The combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. What a fucking tragedy that would be. What became of the kitten afterwards?
In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator.
Darko's nowhere to be seen.
I must have forgotten to lock my case. And now she disappeared again.
Gracious, that cat is insufferably as restless as I am. As insufferably restless. Well, he knows something about himself, at least.
When I woke this morning, I heard that a young man in the cabin next to mine had died. But I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back.
Well, hold on a moment. What about the snake? You're right. Where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it? Where did it come from? What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board the ship?
See, look, he's petting it.
Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Porozko. Pirozko? Porozko. What? What? That snake belongs to you? He escaped from cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him here. Yes, how did that snake get into the cabin? But animals are not permitted on board. Ah, we are at sea for 1 year! You want to be so long with a close friend, without someone who understands? Couldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better? I am man. Man not allowed to understand other men. That's gay. But my dear burly fellow.
That's right, Naruhodo-san, that is gay.
Well, okay, well maybe I'm gay then. What are you gonna do, hang me? It's the 1900s, that's what you do, huh?
Sheesh, you've got some issues.
You know, I'd literally be in like an asylum. A gargantuan venomous snake. Surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in. No venom. The Roscoe does not have venom. He is harmless, very long, but very gentle. He is adorable like Granny. It's venomous. That's not my voice. Yes, now he is hungry, so he's in bad mood. But once I feed him, you'll see big smile. And you feed him. And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose? Ah, like they say, the milk chickens. Ridiculous. Snake that drink milk are only in stupid stories. Roscoe eat mice. Big fat round mouses. Ah. Oh, so, is that what the mouse trap in the passageway out there was for? Of course. How else can I fetch my friend's favorite food? Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. It refuses to drink milk. Can't hear a whistle. Can't climb up a bell cord, and it's not even venomous. How the deuce did something so inept land a starring role? Is the "What are you even good for" from Steven Universe? I now realize what you're talking about. That is a Steven Universe line.
Specifically, there's like a line where one of the gems is like, it's like, and Steven, you were like really sad about snakes before, and he's like, they don't have any arms.
It's not my fault. I did not make up a story. What am I thinking of where I'm like, oh, I know what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the Himsdale comic, Persona 4. You can't cook, you won't put on the swimsuit, what are you even good for? He's got a point. Miss Roscoe has nothing to do with this incident. So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. He tripped on a cat. I mean, two mysteries is still the bell cord and still the writing. So I think there's more to this, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, the writing is like a huge, like... yeah.
Open page. Maybe the cat wrote it. I would have so much respect for this game if it was just...
No. Sorry, you can finish.
I would have a lot of respect for this game if it turns out the writing was also tied to this, and he really just tripped over a cat and died. Because it'd be the first time in the series, like, where someone just died to an accident.
Look, if they wanted to do this, don't have the writing thing.
Yeah, okay. Unless the name was clearly pronounced on the bell.
Miss Pavlova. I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this.
It's your fucking cat, so you're at fault. So die in a hole.
A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But...
What are you talking about, Miss Mikotoba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events, like that book by Lemony Snicket. An accident. Like that book by Lemony Snicket.
the book isn't out yet. I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
To be perfectly honest, yeah. There's discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story. I'm sure of it. I just can't really put my finger on it.
Wasn't the Russian, like, the Russian word for wardrobe? Because Ryunosuke was in the wardrobe?
Yeah. That's what Mr. Sholmes said, that it was the Russian word for wardrobe. We haven't gotten the confirmation on that yet. It could be, like...
Still. if the cat's name was a wardrobe. I mean, it's Darka. We know it's Darka.
That is what it means in Russian.
No shot.
I confess. I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on the matter. Oh. I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. A distraction? I do hope you've been not finding your shackles too uncomfortable. What the? Not again! When did you do that? Especially as they're on your wrist as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call. You were Mr. Sholmes? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours, was he not? Yeah. Kazuma was my closest friend, tired of my freedom even. In that case, we must follow that to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can just chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth about how you really died. About how the scene in your cabin really came to be. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo.
So then, shall we begin? Yeah! What we should ponder first is the victim who lost his life in the cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. Was this truly an unfortunate accident? Or was it in fact no accident at all? That is what we must establish in the first instance. But we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into the cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident. Wait, let's just take a step back now. It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, now does it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. I'm only a detective. I'm not a miracle worker. Yes, it's starting to take shape now. How...
The fuck? Hey, are you, is your mic working? Yeah, I think your mic died and made a very fucking weird noise that I hope got picked up by the recording software. I did it again! You said so fucking weird. It's some crazy, like, tech war happening to your mic. I'm sorry to say. I don't know if it's just not plugged in right. God, please tell me the recording's getting that. I'm sorry, it's not funny that like your mic is fucking up, but the noises are fucking crazy. What the fuck?
Okay. Hold up. Hold up.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Alright, is my mic doing proper?
You're all good now.
Cool.
How did you fix it? What did you do? What was,
I just
what was up
unplugged
with
my
it?
mic. But I guess something happened with my mic. I don't know what. Probably some controller shenanigans. I killed the music, though, by the way.
Okay.
Let me make sure I do a save just in case something broke. Did you notice that the music died?
Yeah, do you want to, like, close... Like, go to the main menu and then load and see if it comes back?
I'm gonna try that.
It might have just stopped with the dialogue. Yeah, I think... Check the court record.
Wrong one.
The other one... Or sorry, the history. No, I said the wrong one there. The evidence is right... Scroll down. The evidence is right there in Cosmo's cabin. Yeah, that's probably a place the music would stop.
Okay, just bad timing, then. So that can possibly be an accident. Really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere circumstance. I mean, it's the photo.
Try again.
The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. Did I fuck up somehow? Wait.
Well, you said like it was no mere circumstance, which was just an entirely different word.
Oh, no mere accident. Yeah, there we go.
It's not. It doesn't matter. I just thought it was funny.
There's no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the... This is weird that there's no music. I feel like there'd definitely be music here.
Yeah.
That script, it's Russian, isn't it? Well, this is the thematic Ace Attorney. This is like real life Ace Attorney. Indeed it is.
Yeah.
The word written means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message to their native language, Japanese in this case.
But maybe he was studying Russian. It is a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast.
That doesn't seem very likely, now does it? That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether you knew Russian or not. Sorry, what do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There's no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. And the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death. It's like leech seed, toxic from Gen 1. It's instant death. That kills you in 3 turns.
How do we tell him that's not instant?
Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything. Because he was already dead.
That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there if what Miss Pavlova told us was true.
What? So Susato-san had noticed it too, then. Putting this message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives away the truth. Another piece of evidence that proves that this was no accident. In other words...
I think it's the bell. Maybe.
Guess the fact that it's cut in half? Yeah.
Well, because her story didn't account for the bell being lost.
Yeah. This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. It is very weird that there's no music. Give me a second. This is bothering me.
I don't think there's anything you could do to...
I can fix it. Hold up.
I don't think there's anything you can do to... If loading it once didn't work, I can't imagine... Unless it's coded very weirdly.
Boop. I'm doing a full restart. I think the music is important to this, so I'm gonna give it a try. For reference, this is a glitch that's happened before with me. It's very weird. My controller like does some disconnect shenanigans, and it destroyed the DQ audio several times, and that caused it to crash. It's very weird that it does that. Right, here's some music.
They got the music and not the game audio.
It's so weird. I don't know how it does it.
Can you screen share?
Yes, I can. Screen share. See, like, there's also music here. So.
Right, on the main menu.
Here. There's no music here.
No,
what
I think it's just supposed to be a silent.
Weird.
Think about it. Think about it like from the way someone would be playing this game if they didn't have to fix mic issues and also weren't like reading all this out loud. This section would be a lot shorter, which makes the suspense of like there being no music for a bit not feel weirdly long.
I guess that's true. There'd also be like just suspicious like Ace Attorney music, I feel, but that's the glass bell the kitten had around its neck. We already knew all about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic? Well, unfortunately, there's a very big flaw. A fatal flaw, in fact. A fatal frame. What? That's really...
Did the recording software actually pick up the new instance of the game, by the way?
Yeah, it does that automatically. I mean, I check often, but
okay.
Yeah, it does that pretty much on route. Then how did one half of the bell end up back here in the cabin? Oh.
Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that waste basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh, no.
I just imagine she does like the Wario. Oh, no. Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Asogi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately rearranged the scene to disguise the truth. In order to cover up for his or her own guilt. Or their guilt.
How do you know the killer is not non-binny? Yeah.
Because that word hasn't been I guess it was kind of invented around this time. It's complicated.
Well, it's been for, many long time in other cultures, just not in Western ones.
So, Emily, I think this does explain everything. I think she knew that he fell, went over to the room and checked, and then set up
right,
the
and then
crime
she writes
scene.
wardrobe.
So I think that does account for literally everything. I think he did just trip over a cat and die. L plus Bozo.
Yes, there was... Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Asogi's.
That was so loud. Can I history that?
I think that's the cap. Oh no, that was Stroganoff.
Spoilers, it was Stroganoff.
Yeah, you're wasting time. Someone else was in there. Of course, we know this.
What are you talking about?
Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out.
Oh, yes.
And only one other person in cabin was young student die. It was you.
I agree. It's true. I was in the cabin when it happened. You were shut inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details. But I didn't know Russian. There's no way I could have left that message. Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message, to be precise about the details. Would you mind? Forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the entire time. How'd they know I was in the cabin, though? That's a little weird. And then the same person
picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen to the floor, for fear of it becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asogi really died.
But why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yeah, well, actually, that's a good point. It was past 1 in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. A single small lamplight suspended from the ceiling would barely have cast any light on the floor there. Little wonder, then, that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item.
You won't suspect me, won't you?
Where'd your snake go, buddy?
Seaman Stroganoff. My favorite.
Nina is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join ballet company. But before she was dancer on this ship, a member of ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal.
Ah, so that's it.
You say that when young student died, Nina was there in his cabin? But that is not possible. I give my tooth.
Well, this is almost interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How could you be so sure?
You're a great detective. You should know.
I feel like there's like a lot more desync than there was before we restarted the game, and it's not a problem necessarily, but
Let me fix that.
let me leave.
Yeah. How about now?
Well, let's keep going. We'll see.
Look truth in eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go in cabin. Not Nina, not anyone.
I think that's better.
Or you want to tell me that killer can walk through locked doors? Niet. Impossible.
He's right.
But wait, I've read about this in detective stories. People often tie thread around door latches so they can open and close them from the outside.
Thread? Are you stupid? These bulkheads are not barn doors.
Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel with not a gap in sight. No threads or needles, or magnets, could have been used.
No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier, so...
Susato, how could you shift it on to me like that? So Seaman Stroganoff had a valid point. The cabin's door couldn't have been bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily.
What?
I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a figure on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind having been used before. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you? Why don't you demonstrate for us? Okay, brace for impact.
Yeah.
A way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside? One way does spring to mind, yeah?
Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yeah, and so should you. Because we've seen it happen. Indeed we have. So, would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? Point out the telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside. I present the books, right? Because I'm like, the ship fell.
Yes. Yes, it would be the books, I think.
Yes!
Look at the bookcase there. See all the books and things on it are toppled over?
That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before.
Everyone hold up, I need to fix the books.
Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel, after all. When the engines are thrown in reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over.
I believe, yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia acting on the objects.
Good song. Is there nothing Susato-san doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book, at least? Well, whatever it's called, the same force that pushed over those books in the bookcase also made something else in the cabin move. The bolt in the cabin door.
Ah,
It was very obviously just after the emergency stop that the ship made her. That finally music, my goodness. We'd come into the cabin not long before and we hadn't bolted the door. But then...
Hello, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance.
Oh, that sounds like... Oh, that was Hosonaga again. I did it again.
Inspector Hosonaga.
Well, I did it correctly. That's what he sounded like.
Yeah, true. Oh, yes. That's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door.
Yeah, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change in speed. Or the first of ineptia, if you want to call that. Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Asogi was killed? Oof. Amazing feat of engineering, that. The SS Buria made another emergency stop. When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books and the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments. You know what I think this is? I think I do understand what Holmes is saying now. That this is all just like a distraction. Like, this is an awful accident that happened, but it's not, like, the main case of Case 2. Like, there's more important shit that was happening while all this was happening. And the reason that it stopped is, like, something else.
If so, I mean, we've spent so much time on it.
That's correct. The books and the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments, too. It was almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over. They just needed a reason for him to die, and they didn't want to make it someone murdered him. So, you know, just like...
I'm still very wary to believe that, but we'll see.
I was worried to believe he was dead, but he's dead, and the cat did it.
It would be funny if he wasn't dead.
Yeah.
But, you know, his spine's broken. Oh yes, I remember that. And I stood them all up again, didn't I?
Then when we came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asogi's cabin.
Oh my.
Oh, everyone was asleep and they rolled out of their beds and hit their head.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova?
Are you out of your mind? You say Buria made an emergency stop?
It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that have possibly happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit's actually someone from the engine room.
No, it's simple enough. Are you forgetting the button that the passageway outside used to trigger the emergency alarm?
Oh yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there, telling you only to press the button in times of emergency.
On dark nights, when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity.
Curiosity killed the cat, but the cat's alive. And actually it killed the Asogi guy.
Wait, it was you?
When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings and the vessel comes to a complete stop. He pressed it the second time. I was right. What a scumbag. As indeed it did a little earlier today.
Mr. Holmes, surely it wasn't you who...
As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion. He sounds almost proud of himself.
How dare you mess with sheep? I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now.
No. I'm sure that all can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learnt a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts in the cabin door slide closed. So, we must now consider... Maybe that's like a design choice. Like maybe it does that on purpose to like prevent water from flooding in.
Oh, that would be interesting.
And then like you have to unlatch it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I missed that line.
No.
Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Asogi, Did this ship make an emergency stop, or did it not?
You are idiots. Buria is a huge ship with many passengers. If we make emergency stop even middle of night, there would be chaos everywhere.
What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence that supports the idea.
Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo?
Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped the vessel last night? I guess the article about the revolutionary? Oh wait, the ship log. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes!
Mr. Stroganoff, it's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship, isn't that right?
Correct. Why?
And the ship's logs here, this would be where you record the details of your duties?
What are you doing with that? That is mine!
Oh, you rather carelessly left it atop the little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return it to you later.
I left it there on purpose. That is always where I put it.
The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances, you write the phrase nothing to report every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log?
That is... Nah, because nothing happened.
But if nothing happened, you would normally write nothing to report, wouldn't you? Indeed so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Buria. Something sufficiently significant enough to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact.
Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night?
Stop talking rubbish!
If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself.
Oh? Why?
Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really happened, surely all of us would have noticed.
That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anybody would sleep through that, even if it had happened in the dead of night.
Well, no, that's a good point. What of the throbbing? Miss Sholmes, we said we'd talk about this later.
Sorry, what do you mean?
Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We've all suffered with it.
Ah!
Oh, yes, I have had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today.
Nor have I. It is, I know it's Ace Attorney, but it is a kind of a very big stretch that every single person got, like, even if it was, like, a very violent hit, that, like, nobody didn't conk out completely through that.
The implication is that rather than having a very strong brace for impact message, they were just like, and they were also in the middle of the night, so everyone just fell out of bed and, like, hit their fucking head. Which you would fall if, like, a sudden steamship stop, like, happened and lurched as much as to move a metal door latch. Like, that was a hard stop. It's surprising only one person lost their life. Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected. He's right, my head's been throbbing today, too. Since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. Can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. And the first thing I noticed this morning was a throbbing pain in my head. I'd already been dragged out of the wardrobe. They could have also drug the food, but, you know, that'd be tied to, like, the actual case. I had these handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up with all that was happening to me? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo. You boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, well, yeah. Sorry. Stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on? Well, Cosmo looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals. So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it? Yeah, in fact. I had all of that. Cosmo wasn't fond of chicken. Really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all? Well, that's right. He didn't touch it. Is that relevant? My dear fellow, does that not strike you?
Oh. Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say...
Maybe he didn't trip over a cat.
that there was something wrong with the chicken?
I do. No! Really? Is that really true? The meal prepared for the passengers last night has been tampered with.
See, that makes more sense.
Tampered within the addition of a soporific designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consumed it. Oh, and the what's her name came really late on board the ship, so she didn't have a time to eat. So
which means she couldn't have done this.
No,
like poisoning.
She couldn't have done the poisoning, but I do think that her cat still tripped Cosmo. This is what I'm saying.
We'll see.
Because she would have been up at night.
Right.
A sleeping drug. Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop?
Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. It's a far-fetched idea.
Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a soporific drug would certainly be impossible. But the upper class people, like the ones in first class, less it is every single member of a crew was a conspirator. What?
Mr. Sholmes.
Well, Seaman? I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you refuse to talk, there would have been an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew and the captain himself would be hauled over the coals for aiding and abetting a renegade. Oh! Oh.
Wait.
Okay.
Hold on. Pull up the court record. I got distracted. Or not the court record, the history. I keep calling it that. Lacing every drug. Okay. Unless every single member is a conspirator. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they helped the actual Russian dude escape, and that's what Sholmes is looking for. Which means he could have murdered, what's his name? Because he was still awake. And then pointed him to the cabin. But I don't know how the cat's involved. Some way. Maybe she's helping the Russian spy. They're just taking the fall. Yeah.
Please, no more. I will tell everything.
Yeah.
I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore.
These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe.
Yes. So when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
We'll agree to help. Everyone together.
Oh, maybe... Oh, they're helping her. Okay.
Oh,
Never mind.
that makes more sense.
She threw away everything, her fame in the ballet. Mother Russia, we wanted to help our angel.
I don't believe it.
You were right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night.
Yeah, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point.
We could not make all the drug. How do you say dissolve?
Talk about heavy seasoning.
At midnight in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was held by comrades on shore with fishing small boat.
All the passengers in the SS Beria slept soundly, thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion their evening meals had contained. Potion seller. So if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who dislike chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Kazuma's cabin door.
But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have been locked up in that case, and there wouldn't have been complete chaos.
Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? Ah, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins. After which they would have only been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug. Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night.
Yes.
The overwhelming majority of passengers would have habitually slept with their cabin doors bolted anyway, and so not one of them would have found it remarkable that the cabin door was locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning.
You have talked long time and said many things. What is point?
The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. Miss Susato. What the fuck? And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock the door. All told, a busy night.
But... I don't know I don't know about any of this. I am just a little girl.
You like to speak with your long English words and explain with clever ideas. But I am a sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes. Never gets us in trouble, promise.
A laudable trait.
What?
I'm quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yeah? Did you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt on the wind?
What accusatory cry of guilt?
Sorry, you've lost me. Proof of involvement, man. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No. You must hear it with your eyes. For observation is the basis of all deduction.
What are you talking about?
I believe the time has come for one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. Come, Naruhodo, spin with me. With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes, my legs? With observation, my dear fellow, just as I said of these two prevaricators.
That's probably it.
Observation.
You remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Asogi's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened.
Precisely. You're delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. Alright, I'll see what I can see. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there at this last night when Kazuma died. Ah. Okay. What suggests that someone else was there at the scene?
Wonder if there might be like...
Ow.
Oh! Yep, well...
Oh, look at this. Look at his washboard abs. It's some kind of stain, too, in an unusual place.
Yes, you're right. It looks like ink, if I'm not mistaken.
Huh. Ink. And look at the color, too. It's clear where this came from. Wine. He's just watching us poke his back.
Yes!
It's not a true dance. Seaman Stroganoff, you seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there.
Yeah? Oh, yes, I am. I don't know where the dirt comes from.
So nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain?
What are you trying to say?
It would appear that the significance of this stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain. It's a very large purple stain on the back of Mr. Seaman Stroganoff's uniform.
I think what made it is clear.
Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it. My pleasure. Alright then, the evidence that proves who the stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform really is... the ink. Which is probably the crime scene photo.
Yes!
I'm so upset that Stroganoff did it. This is like slander. Yes, it's this photograph and the ink it shows. This is what caused the stain in your uniform. Ink? A rather unusual color of ink, purple.
Go.
Ah, the penny drops, at last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. That's me. And the stain on the back of your uniform is ink, made in exactly the same color. If the ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform in that way. Which means... you must have been present in the cabin in the moments immediately after the ink was spilled.
Alright, yes. It was me. I did it. Everything.
Huh?
I arranged everything in dead student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Buria do emergency stop, and both cabin doors shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel.
Beef, please.
Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty patrolling passageway. Then her angel came to me. She was like white like sheet.
Beef, please, you must help me.
I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw a student boy on floor. What happened here?
Please, don't tell anyone. My little one, my little furry friend.
Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you.
The kitten escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Asogi's cabin. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell onto the floor.
Yeah, that is right.
The speckled band was a fucking cat toy.
Yep.
That was the name of the case.
Yep.
So after the incident when the cat ran away,
Why do I have a Russian accent?
Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers,
Only to find its occupants lying lifeless on the floor.
she said she was worried when she heard the sound of something falling on the floor. That's when she went look. No angel. The door was not locked. So she opened to look, and you already know what happened after.
There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind.
What?
When you went to Mr. Asogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why?
I already told you. When Nina opened door to the student cabin and looked in...
I was asking Miss Pavlova.
Well, Miss Pavlova?
Yeah. Oh. Yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared. I understand, and I believe you.
So was that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death at last? What a fucking, like, blow to the neck this would be. Like, instead of being
Literally.
murdered, at least then you could be like, okay, we have someone to hate. It's a tragedy, but, like, we know that it was, like, some scumbag. Here it's just, like, tripped over a cat.
Yeah.
Ah, something very nearly slipped my mind. Don't worry, you'll have good closure. Give me a second. Oh, Mr. Sholmes? This photograph. Yes, I took it myself, you know. The cause of death was his broken neck, therefore the victim died instantly. In the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events, a kitten on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there is one particular area in this photograph that seems to me somewhat unnatural.
His eyes are closed?
His eyes are closed and his fingers moved to, like...
I mean, I assumed that, Stroganoff did that to, like...
Yeah.
Set up the crime scene.
His other hand is... his hand is clenched.
Mm-hmm.
Would he have not been on, like, his front? Would he have been on his back?
Now, if he tripped forward...
What do you mean unnatural? What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Huh? Oh, well... Actually... Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck. Part of this photographic print seems unnatural. That his neck is not, like, actually tilted at a bad angle?
I don't know. I'm thinking it's the eyes. Because your eyes don't close when you die.
It must be here. Surely.
Maybe not.
Allow me to offer you a piece of evidence and advice regarding the pursuit of deduction, my dear fellow. When noting a crucial point, it can be helpful to keep your eyes open. They were open. I was talking about the fact that Kazuma's weren't. And it can be equally helpful to use them. Yeah, well, Kazuma wasn't using his, so that was what was weird.
Maybe they do want us to talk about the finger point thing. I think it's plain what Mr. Sholmes means by unnatural, isn't it?
Oh, why don't you point it out then?
The word written in a foreign language underneath his fingertip, surely.
The particularly crass detail was orchestrated by the culprits.
Okay.
Now I mean to
Maybe
identify another point.
Could be the neck.
Imagine, if you will, losing your footing yourself. Would you land as the victim has? What of your hands? I think they'd both be palm out. You look like the sort of fellow who stumbles with some regularity. This should be an easy test.
Oh, you know what? It's the left hand, right?
Why
because
do I?
the right hand the Stroganoff messed with, but the
Yeah,
left hand.
but the left hand
it's
it's a fist, which he would have landed with an open palm. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. If he really fell due to an unfortunate accident, And this fist just doesn't quite seem right. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say. As though he were gripping something.
What do you mean?
Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago.
You did?
And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow?
Mr. Sholmes, show us, please.
Why, of course, my dear madam. Would I keep you in suspense? I hope not. I also hope you don't keep me in these chains, because it's very clear I didn't do anything at this point. This is what I found. Is that... That's his university pen, I think.
It might be part of the tiara.
Oh, it might be.
Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle.
Yes, you're right. A crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us?
No, okay, it's not on there.
It tells us nothing. I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks distinct. It also feels familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. This is the key. I want to say it's... like... Hold on.
You can't bring up the core
Yeah,
record right now.
What? The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist? This is the final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe, find the answer with your own eye. I know I've seen this thing before.
It might be in her picture with the cat. Not letting us select it, so probably not. An earring? No. Wait, yes.
There it is. That's a little weird. No, come on, let me select it. I can't select it. Is that like a better angle? Oh, okay, maybe from there. There we go.
She has such petite ears among that beautiful hair, like little pink shells.
Oh, what's that? There's something dangling down from her ear.
Yes, that's an earring. It's a crescent moon.
Ah. There could be no doubt now, surely. Do you see her eye blinking? What the fuck?
Oh god.
It's like a wave!
Yes!
Boink. That's where I've seen it before. There's Pavlova on your ear there. I see you have a crescent moon as well. No. And on your other ear, there seems to be a crescent moon missing. The little link holding it on must have broken, I suppose. Now, the missing crescent moon was found on the victim's clenched fist. Here, there's only one logical explanation. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yeah. Miss Pavlova? Mr. Asogi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Asogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length with him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Asogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it with his clenched fist during his final moments?
Oh no.
Angel. No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kazuma?
I'm sure that character isn't actually pronounced T, but...
2 female killers in a row. We're on a roll with this game.
When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship. And then, when I was at last in this cabin and I could relax after this horrible long day. Darka, wait! I couldn't believe when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy, but nothing worked. Darka would not come back.
This is one area where I do think Danganronpa is superior. I would like to see like a little comic of this.
Yeah, totally. Rare Danganronpa W.
Yeah.
Very, very fucking rare. But yeah.
The presentation of Danganronpa has always been top-notch. I like how it aesthetically looks. It does have a style about it. It just also has a lot of other things that are stylistically a problem.
I mean, part of the reason why I am inclined to agree with that sentiment is because they didn't go 3D with the character models, which I fucking hate. I mean, I can deal with it, obviously, but, like, I wish Pokemon was still 2D. I wish Ace Attorney was still 2D. And Danganronpa art being 2D is a very big reason why I do like the presentation of it. If they made a new one and they went 3D with it, I would be pissed.
Yeah. I think that 3D can work. It's just that bad 3D is really bad, but good 3D is good. It's just bad 3D is
I'm
bad.
a fucking psychopath. I would rather have bad 2D than good 3D. Straight up.
I think that's understandable.
What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? That's not my voice. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. The young man from your country, he was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again and I was going to leave the man's cabin... Just a moment. Sorry, but... Oh, yes? I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Ah, of course. You're Nikolona Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina.
I'm a really big fan of the ballet.
Huh? No, I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway east know a Russian ballerina?
I'm just a fan of ballet, jeez.
Kind of fruity. Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But, what are you doing on this ship? I'm sure I read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment. I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice. I see. So you've run away. Please, please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone. Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. He's going to Port Court. He's going to tell the captain.
Aww.
Why did I think I could trust him? Then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted, and then... Darka jumped out of my arms and down to the young man's feet. And as he turned around to look at me, oof. I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me.
So it didn't quite die because of a cat, but close enough.
I mean, she killed him.
Yeah.
Not, in right mind with, a ton of intent, but...
That's when you went to fetch help? From Seaman Stroganoff, who was on duty on the passageway?
I heard Nina cry out and thud on floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin door shaking like a leaf. She looked at me and said,
Help me, Beef. If they find out, I will be... Please, I have nowhere to go.
So you decided to help. And that's when you arranged things in Kazuma's cabin to make it look like I did it. So that no one would suspect a passenger in the cabin next door. That's also fucked up.
Yep.
Yes. I went in the cabin and I looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there.
Honestly,
yeah.
If they had just not wrote the message and like maybe did some other like shenanigans, like left the bell there.
Could made it like just a complete accident.
It could have been like the cat. No one's gonna kill the cat.
Yeah. Like that's just an accident.
Yeah.
At that point.
But then they had to make it on me. They fucked up.
Make sure there was nothing of Nina there. And then I found Stowaway in the wardrobe, still sleeping.
Right. That's when he found me.
So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the stowaway.
Probably should have torn off the paper on the door.
I closed wardrobe doors and put back strange papers.
Oh yeah, I guess, okay, that's fine. Luckily for me, that's the only reason Susato-san started to believe me when I said I was innocent.
I dragged young man's body to good place and used ink that was spilled right on floor. I wrote, Tabato, so the person who found him would look inside wardrobe and find Stowaway.
There's no way that's how that's pronounced, but I don't expect either of us to know how to actually pronounce it.
No, I have no fucking clue. And tell me, what of the glass bell?
It was by my feet, so I picked it up.
I see.
But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half.
You'd think you would have felt the other half, but I guess you weren't in the right mind.
Then Angel went back to her cabin and I finished job.
By pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway?
Yes.
Accordingly, the SS Buria did indeed come to an emergency halt a little after 2 a.m., thus enticing the bolt to the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery. There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova. Oh my god, what?
What?
Well, you said that you called Kazuma about the fact that you run away from your homeland. And it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right?
Yes.
But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem? Oh shit. No, I don't think
wow, I killed a man for no reason. It was what he said first that made me scared.
What he said first?
What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh, shit. Oh. I'm sorry. Thought it was a friend of mine. He said an inspector was his friend.
Yes, meaning me. That's also why Osanaga was beaten up for, like, looking into this.
Uh-huh.
who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard.
I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before he could pull the bell cord, May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Asogi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know. What? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
I mean, he was clearly going to go ask me. Come on. Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain, but... he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give you your secret away, then he wouldn't have done what he'd done.
No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not yet done, it seems. There is one more deduction to make. What? Another deduction? Yes. What action was the victim really about to take at that moment? Can we determine whether this young man's gaze was directed? First, consider the victim's location within his cabin. That's easy. I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yeah, I spent quite a lot of time in the wardrobe, but still. My cabin has been in my home for the entire voyage.
So this is how the cabin looked last night when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama.
Yeah, it's exactly how it was. Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo? Yeah, there's one thing I've learned today. It's that a simple gaze can reveal all manner of truths. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. So when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at? It was the wood. Take that! Plunk. Considering everything that had happened last night, certainly may have looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord. Yes, however. What is directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe. Is there like a button to like get rid of the text box so I can show you where that ugly, ugly dead pixel is?
Really?
No. G options? No. Do you like briefly see it? Let me, can you see my mouse cursor?
No.
Okay, do you see where the is and directly is?
Yes.
Look in between that prior to
I
the
found
D.
the...
Yeah, there it is.
Wait,
There's
no, I
the
didn't
dead
find...
pixel.
No,
You see
actually,
it?
sorry, I didn't find... Okay, now I see it. Yep.
Yeah, there's just an ugly dead pixel in that room.
Yeah.
The wardrobe. Oh, God, there it is. That's what he was looking at. He was like, oh, what a hideous dead pixel. I need to go tell my friend.
The wardrobe.
And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe. The man's great friend, sleeping soundly.
Miss Pavlova, please, think back very carefully. What were Mr. Sogi's exact words last night? Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. Another opinion?
An opinion. Yes, but not from a fellow member of the crew. No, Mr. Asogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if between them they might be able to help in some way, no doubt.
Oh no. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Asogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had.
Miss Pavlova? I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately,
The truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did. And that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that.
I'm sorry. Really, I'm so sorry. What have I done?
And so at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Berea was finally laid to rest. We can't have it be an accident. It has to be a murder, though. I mean, she didn't intend for it to be a murder, but that's still classified as a murder. It wasn't first degree, it was second degree. Actually, does them, like, hiding the scene of the crime afterward make it first degree? Does that, like, upgrade it, or does that, like, make it a different crime?
You're asking the wrong person.
Tampering with evidence, yeah. What will happen to Miss Pavlova now, then? Oh, what would happen to Miss Pavlova now, then? Once we've reached Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard. Not to worry, though. The British are really bad about, Oh, wait, no, she's Russian. Never mind, she's going to jail. What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Won't the Russians try to repatriate her? Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigrant office and sort all that out. Mr. Sholmes can do that? So she won't be going back to Russia, then? No, I don't think so. She'll just be rotting in an English cell for the rest of her life. Oh, thank goodness, then. Yeah, I hear the food there is really good. It would be an even worse hell than the one she was enduring earlier. Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she would be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life. I see. Her life is just over now, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Seaman Stroganoff?
I wanted to help our angel, no matter what. But I didn't think about you, about how you lost a good friend.
Also, you're an accessory to the crime. What the fuck are you doing here? You're also going to jail.
Yeah.
I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police.
Okay, there you go. That's kind of you, dick. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Kazuma's death feels like such a waste, but... well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you? Duh. Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan. Yeah. I did stowaway after all. I couldn't really expect any different. So, you should get back to your cabin now. What a wonderful place to be in after that. Looks like my study tour to Great Britain's over before it even begun then. To think that only days ago Kazuma and I were laughing together about how we'd tear up the streets of London. Seems like a distant memory now. Oh. What's that? Is it someone weeping? Susato-san?
Naruhodo-san, I didn't know you had returned.
Oh, well, I haven't really been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack, you know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that.
I still can't believe this has happened. I can't believe someone's life can be over just like that.
Susato.
He had such grand ideas for this visit to Great Britain. So many dreams. And now they've been cruelly taken away. Just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible, but now I know the truth, that it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruto-san. It's just too much.
Yeah, I know. I wish there was something I could say.
Inspector.
My duty was to see Asiogi-san safely to Great Britain, Asogi. But I failed, and caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down. And I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder.
Nobody blames you, Inspector. What the? I'm free again now, at least. Huh? Scene interrupting Sholmes. Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo? What the? What's the meaning of this? No, a trifling matter. Simply that in my head I think I should always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting. Sorry? What's your damage? So I decided to restore them for old time's sake, shall we say. You are a stowaway, after all. He thinks this is funny?
Mr. Sholmes. We do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Not at all, not at all. And though it's a little late, may I offer my sincerest condolences? The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. I hope that you will be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor.
I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port, in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened.
What? Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway.
The terms of this study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be one lawyer and one assistant.
Was to be?
In light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead.
Oh no, I don't care for me, but... Poor Susato-san. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and one study tour can continue surely. I shall be that lawyer. Me, Sherlock Holmes. Who? Sherlock Sholmes.
But there is no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer.
Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country would be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid.
Oh, but...
But anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer.
Yes.
Miss Susato?
Yes? This'll be
You
good.
think perhaps I might be able to do it?
But you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law?
No, I'm not, but...
I'm sorry. In that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work. You'd have to do so many ass pulls. You'd have to, like, extend past several bloodlines worth. Just like a whole line of blood... of just that. But as I said, there's still more than a month before we reach England's shores. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yeah, I have a month in which to study, to learn what I must do to become a lawyer in Great Britain. Just a month, they said. That's all I need.
Mr. Naruhodo.
That's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anybody could learn all that in just 40 days?
Well, there's only one way to find out. I would work with my fingers to the bone, Inspector, every single day. Will you let me try? And if by that time we reach Great Britain I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment's deemed appropriate.
But why put yourself in such a difficult position?
For Kazuma, he said that there was something he had to do in Great Britain. And that it would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit, too. I'll become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Mrs. Hato? Happy.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Thank you. Oh, it's this song, but, different. It's the motif.
So what does our bespectacled inspector friend say? Are you serious? One lawyer and one assistant. The numbers are indisputable. No, it's madness. Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree? Fascinating. Duty and rules are the dull routines of existence that we all abhor.
Give us interest, give us fascination.
Speak for yourself.
Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character, no? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes. From the early hours of this morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage.
Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice.
Inspector!
After all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said that I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here.
Oh, thank you, Inspector.
If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. Hopefully he won't kick the shit out of me this time. I need to discuss what to do next and how best to make my report.
Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. You gonna do more than that? No, I'm just gonna try. That's the best I can do, okay? I wonder. Would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Everything about being a lawyer?
I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant, after all.
She just did the Maya thing.
Yeah!
Thank you.
And, Mr. Naruhodo, I'd like you to take charge of this.
What? Me? Are you sure?
I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted.
I don't know, you could be like a badass like Kunoichi with a sword, too? Okay, I'll take it.
Thanks. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that's been in the Isoki clan for generations.
Very well, I accept. I'll treasure it always. So then, Mrs. Sato, it seems we'll be working together for some time to come yet.
It will be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. And for the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. We shall fill every spare moment with study.
Yes, that's exactly what I need. 1 second, though. I need to go to the bathroom. No.
What did I just fucking say? But before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you, too.
Goodness. What is it?
Please throw me to the ground. 3 times.
Oh, you did it a lot more than 3 times to me. But...
I should never have doubted you. You were Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course you would never have done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And no matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior.
No, you were in shock. It's okay. You just found out about me stowing away, and the cabin door was locked from the inside.
No, I won't let you make excuses for me. Whatever the circumstances, I should never have thrown you. And not just once, but 5 times.
Oh god, did you count? Oh, maybe it was actually 5 times. Oh, that number keeps creeping up, doesn't it?
Please, you must. Just take hold of me and throw me. Do it. Don't even think about it.
No. I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life. Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. Isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes.
Yeah, the last time, like, someone close to me got thrown, they died. So I'm just gonna, like, not throw people.
Imagine how fucking funny that would be, though, if he's like, okay, I'll do it. Then she fucking dies.
Mr. Sholmes, well, this is the easiest
I guess
case
you
I've
need
ever
a
done yet.
No, and then he's like, well, I guess you'll be needing a judicial assistant. I will play that role.
You will not have a spare moment for the next 40 days. Come, let us dance together. I observed your throwing technique several times with great interest. I confess I was most impressed. When did he see that? I presume that would be a form of Japanese wrestling.
Oh, well, in a way, it's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujutsu technique.
Apparently it's called the Susato Takedown. It leaves your head swimming, believe me. How beguiling. I am a practitioner of the combative arts myself. I am a somewhat accomplished boxer. Rabble-rousing.
That punch got way too close to her face.
Just a little bit. Oh, jeez. There he goes,
Can't be
dancing around
doing
again. Give her the one. Wha bam! You feel that against your hair? You're gonna get cauliflower. Here it comes again. Wha bam!
He is like hitting her ear.
There he goes, dancing around again. What if you be so kind as to instruct me in the technique of your arresting throw? I can't hear anything anywhere. Oh no, she's leaning into it.
Yes, I'd be honored.
Alright, now it's like hitting her hair. Let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madam.
Oh, of course.
Why me? Why me?
Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo?
Sorry?
Hiya!
And that was how I also lost my life, where my best friend did.
As you can see, you throw from the abdomen.
Oh yes, arresting indeed. And that is what you termed the Susato Takedown, is it?
Actually, no. That was a Susato squash.
Mr. Naruhodo? Mr. Naruhodo? In my groggy state of consciousness...
Well, I guess you'll be needing a lawyer.
A scene from an evening recently spent with Kazuma flickered in my mind. When he also threw me on the ground. But it was actually on a softer... Anyway, the joke's dead.
Yep.
Karuma.
That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Sogi clan.
Can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely.
A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke, and I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that. So I didn't get permission.
Yeah. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need much compelling.
On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain, and I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me.
Is it getting beans and toast off the menu?
That is... How did you get it?
Huh. That was just a guess, but if I got it in one, that's pretty cool.
I mean, no, it's a pretty fucked up thing they do, so it makes sense, yeah.
Very fair. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you, because I know you were lying about the beans and toast thing. You were lying, right? You're just pulling my leg?
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Cosmo, I need your confirmation here.
I've been thinking this is like 5 minutes from ending for like 40 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we're almost done here. That important thing he had to do. I still don't know what that thing was. But I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London.
Okay, that's that. I don't. If there's more, we're saving there. that's an end point. Okay, Christ.
We don't get a next time on Ace Attorney. Yeah.
Alright. Well, because we went way later than expected, I'm just gonna head off right now.
Yeah.
See you. Good night.
Thanks for playing. Bye-bye.
Thanks for hanging.
Goodbye, tri-state area. No, really, Cosmo, it wasn't just beans and toast, right? Like, that's not the whole reason that you went. You really, was that it? Oh, God.